board meeting for March 30th, 2020. It is 6 p.m. At this time, we will call the Clayton County Board of Education meeting to order. We are having to teleconference our meeting this evening due to the epidemic that we are facing and the restrictions on the number of people that can be in a social setting. Therefore, I will call to order the meeting. I'm going to call all of the board members and people that are presiding over this meeting. District 1, Ms. Jasmine Bowles.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Mark Christmas.
Present.
District 3, Board Chair Jesse Green, present. District 4, Ms. Victoria Williams.
Present.
District 5, Ms. Ophelia Burrows.
Present.
District 6, Ms. Mary Baker.
Present.
District 7, Ms. Judy Johnson. District 8, and our Vice Chair, Dr. Alika Anderson.
Present.
District 9, Mr. Ben Straker.
Present.
Also, Dr. Mercy J. Beasley, Superintendent and CEO of Clayton County Public Schools. Dr. Beasley. Dr. Beasley is present. Our attorney, Mr. Clem Doyle.
Present.
And our administrative assistant, Ms. Sharon Smith.
Present.
Thank you. At this time, I will read the ethics statement. In accordance with board policy, it is the duty of every board member to avoid conflict of interest and appearances of such conflicts. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of such conflict with respect to any matter of schedule to come before the board at any hearing on our proposed agenda? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from participation in the matter involved. Hearing none, we will proceed. At this time, we need to adopt the agenda, and I again will do a roll call for the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
All right, it has been moved by Mark Christmas. Can I get a second?
Second by Mary.
I have a second from Ms. Baker. It has been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda. Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Mr. Christmas?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Burrows?
Yes.
Ms. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Straker?
Yes.
And yes from Jesse Gorey. Has Ms. Johnson joined us yet? Okay, I believe the vote is 8-0. The next item on the agenda would have been executive session. We are not in need of executive session. So therefore, we will move on to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from the call board meeting, February 24th, 2020. Minutes from the board work session, February 24th, 2020. And minutes from board meeting on March 2nd, 2020. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, we will accept the minutes as presented. Our next item are updates to the board. The first item is Clayton State University enrollment status. Dr. Tim Hines.
Madam Chair, may I take a personal point of privilege at this time?
Dr. Anderson, I had completely forgotten that we were supposed to do this. Please do that.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, and to all of our constituents and our families that are listening at this time, I would like to take a personal point of privilege not only to convey from Dr. Alika Anderson and the board members to please everyone, please stay at home. We definitely have the pandemic going on with the coronavirus, and we know that we want everybody to be safe. So please, we just urge you to please stay home as we go through this time. And I would like to take a personal point of privilege to just look at some of the people that we have lost during the coronavirus. I want to take a personal point of privilege to just bow our heads and just recognize those people that we've lost to COVID-19 at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson.
Thank you.
At this time, Ms. Baker, let me allow you to share as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to take a moment to thank all of our staff and volunteers that have helped with making sure that our little ones, all of our students, are able to get breakfast and lunch each day. On top of that, I was able to attend Forest Park Middle School, where we partnered with the Atlanta Food Bank and all of the people who came to help with that. And then I was also able to help with Terra Elementary School, which is one now of 5 locations. The support of our community, we had community people there, staff people there, administrators, maintenance. It's just overwhelming to see neighbor helping neighbor. And a little shout out also to members of the Jonesboro Council who are making up goodie bags for at Lee Street with the principal, Mr. Strickland, allowing us to do that. So again, I just want to thank everyone who has helped during this time, and our police officers, our first responders. So thank you.
All right. Ms. Victoria Williams, please share.
Yes, I would like to acknowledge congratulations to the Forest Park Girls Panthers basketball team for their state championship win.
Thank you so much. Dr. Beasley.
Did we lose Dr. Beasley?
Dr. Beasley.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes, I can now, Dr. Beasley.
Okay. Thank you all. Seems like I'm having some challenges with this simple technology today, but I'll make it. I just wanted to share, thanks to everyone, as you all have already shared, for everyone stepping up to the plate. I did want to share, Dr. Anderson acknowledged the loss of those due to the coronavirus. We did have one of our staff members, Damaris Garrett, lost her father in Chicago due to the virus. And we just wanted to ask everyone to keep her and her family in your prayers and in your thoughts.
Thank you. I also would like to, I wanted to acknowledge one of our former employees who passed recently as well. Our former Director of Transportation, Mr. John Lau, passed about 3 weeks ago, and I did mention it at the other board meeting, so please keep his family in prayer as well. Now, I believe that we have caught up with everything. Are we ready for the presentation?
Madam Chair? Madam
Yes.
Chair, can I say something? This is Mark.
Yes,
All right, Yeah, we really do need to stay at home. I lost my aunt and my cousin to the coronavirus in New Orleans, Louisiana. So this thing is real. So we need to take it precaution we possibly can. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I would like to the Clayton County as a county needs a shelter in place, and I know we need all 7 cities to enact it. Now, and I wish that all of our mayors would come together along with chairman and do so. But I will allow Dr. Hines to do his presentation if we're ready, Dr. Beasley.
I believe we are. Dr. Hines, are you there, sir?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Excellent. I guess this is one of these. Is this one of these situations that the speaker is a man who needs no introduction?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Dr. Hines, I should share with all that Dr. Hines is the president of Clayton State University, and he's here to present to us on our dual enrollment participation, particularly at Clayton State University, and outcomes. So we welcome Dr. Hines to this virtual meeting to share with our school system, our board in particular, how our students are doing with dual enrollment at Clayton State University.
And so I want to start by saying thank you to the entire board and thank you to the entire system for being such incredible partners with the university. I'm saying this from my home, staying in place here in Clayton County. The school system prepares one of 7 students who attend Clayton State University, and so the partnership is not only important but incredibly valuable. As an aside, for those of us who are online for the semester, and you've probably read that the University System of Georgia has started online as a system today. Clayton State began last week, and by our calculations, 98% of the students enrolled at the institution have currently logged on to their online courses this past week. We're going to run some particularized analysis for dual enrollment students to provide information to the counselors at the specific schools. But we believe that the attendance by the dual enrollment students from Clayton County right now is exemplar, and they will continue to make progress for the rest of the semester as we move forward. I don't have control over the slides, so if you would move to a slide headed by Clayton County High School dual enrollment by term. I think the numbers are relatively clear. The only thing that I would note is that there has been a steady rise in enrollments with the exception of fall 2020. That in large part was a result of a significant number of Clayton County Public School graduates in the dual enrollment program last spring. The growth, as you will note from the chart for spring enrollments, reemerged this past term. The participation by students have been significant. If you move to the next slide, headed Significant Data, there are 3 bullets here that I think are of great importance. The first is that last year, 15 dual enrollment students graduated with their associate's degree at the same time they received diplomas from Clayton County Public Schools. And the average grade point average for those graduates was 637. Impressive. There have been 513 unique students have participated in the dual enrollment program since fall of 16, and these students have averaged some 27 credit hours per student, and in excess of 13,000 credit hours in total. The next slide. By the way, if there are questions, if you wouldn't mind holding them, let me finish going through the slideshow, and then I'd be delighted to answer any questions that you might have. The next slide talks about fall dual enrollment by high school in Clayton County Public Schools. I would say that Elite Scholars Academy has been a long-time partner with the institution. Others have grown over time, and that there are currently conversations in play to expand offerings to partner schools, and to a great extent, opportunities to expand in-school offerings at various high schools. More on that in just a bit. The next slide talks about the success for these dual enrollment students. It indicates the percentage attending post-secondary opportunities immediately upon graduation, with the largest number of seniors last year attending Georgia State, the second largest Clayton State, and you can see that the graduates from Clayton County schools were well represented at the University of Georgia and elsewhere. Over 90% of the seniors enrolled in Clayton State University dual enrollment attended post-secondary institution the semester after their graduation. And an incredibly laudable accomplishment by the students of this system. The next slide talks about offerings at school sites, but staffed by Clayton State University faculty. Not surprising that English composition courses had the largest set of online of dual enrollment participation. I would also say that there has been a standing offer which has been accepted by some of the Clayton County schools to credential for faculty members who meet post-secondary SACS credentials as adjunct faculty at our institution, and therefore able to teach in the dual enrollment program, and thus satisfy both ours and the system's accreditation requirements. The next slide indicates the overall success and retention rates for Clayton County Public School students. And again, this retention rate is incredibly laudable, as well as the success rate for those students in high school grade point average. Again, incredibly impressive performance by our students of both our institution and the Clayton County Public Schools. The next slide talks about some admission changes, and these are still in status. Part and parcel to these changes are the lack of availability for SAT, ACT, and AccuPlacer to be administered this semester. We will be issuing some revisions in the admissions process, but based upon our initial view, this will not affect negatively the eligibility for students for the dual enrollment program, either for this summer or for the coming fall. The next slide talks about changes in freshman undergraduate admission changes, but again, as I observed, this will not largely affect admission for students. I'm going to stop here, ask if there are some questions other than to say thank you for an opportunity to present. I wish I were seeing your smiling faces personally, and hopefully there will be a time in which we are out of staying in place to be able to accomplish that. But until that point in time, I say thank you and would love to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question.
Okay.
Ophelia Burrows.
Excuse me, Ms. Burrows.
Yes.
I will let you. Since you started, I'm gonna let you do it. But let me just
okay.
Go in order.
I'll do it whenever you want.
No, ma'am. Because since we can't see
I
each
am
other,
here to serve.
Okay, I'm gonna let you ask the first question, Ms. Burrows, and then I'm gonna just go in order by district, and you can talk too. Okay. So Ms. Burrows, and then after that, Ms. Bowles, and you all can come on down once she answers. If anybody else has questions, so go ahead, Ms. Burrows.
This may be better for Dr. Beasley. I was wondering, it seems like we used to have far more students in the dual enrollment program, but I would like to know if there are any efforts to encourage more of our students to participate, because some of those were very low in numbers.
Okay, Ms. Burrows, if I may,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's one school. That's Clayton State University. We have students enrolled in dual enrollment at other schools, and so we've seen an upward increase in the number of students enrolled in dual enrollment. I've shared that information in the past, but I'll get Dr. Dunn to send us an updated report, and we'll share that. Okay?
Okay.
And what I would also say is that the second slide on simply the Clayton State participants indicates that there has been nearly a consistent rise in participation at Clayton State, and I would anticipate that has been the case throughout with other institutions serving the schools. I know there has been a constant rise over my 10 years of Clayton County schools, students participating in dual enrollment here.
Okay.
And Ms. Burrows, this is Jeff Gorey, but even at Riverdale, there are probably like 3 other colleges there. They have DeVry, because I think there were 18 that received their associates from DeVry at Riverdale High School last year. There's also Georgia Military College, and I think there's a teacher college at Riverdale. So there are other colleges. This is just
I know that.
Yes.
But I was looking at the numbers.
Right.
That's where I was coming from, was from the numbers that that are listed here.
Right. Well, you're doing a great job over there at Clayton State, Dr. Hines. Ms. Bowles, do you have a question?
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Hi, Dr. Hines. This is Ms. Bowles from District 1. And
Hi.
Thank you for this presentation. My question actually is about, currently I think that this legislative session there was some policy making going on that would impact dual enrollment. So our students do take advantage of that, as your data shows, which is awesome. And I was wondering if that has had any impact on anything, if that House bill will.
Based on since it hasn't been implemented, we are forced to simply make some estimates. The effects within the county would be modest, since the number of what the new legislation would do, amongst other things, is limit enrollments to 11th and 12th graders. The bulk of the enrollments at Clayton State have, in fact, been associated with 11th and 12th graders. As we look to a modification in our own admission standards and compare those with the admission standards for the next fall and for the current legislation, we anticipate some decline immediately, but not a great deal. We've been fortunate that we haven't been admitting that many 10th graders and no 9th graders. And as a result, the decline will be, at least based on our predictions, modest.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chris.
Great question.
Miss Williams.
No questions at the time.
Miss Baker.
I just want to say thank you. This is a great opportunity for many of our students, and again, just thank you, and thank you for this presentation.
Dr. Anderson.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Thank you.
I just want to also say thank you to you, Dr. Hines. This is a great opportunity for our students, and I just want to continue our dual enrollment and continue doing great things for Clayton State University. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Straker.
No questions right now.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Christmas.
I didn't realize my phone was muted and I was talking.
Okay.
So I have a question. I'm not sure if it's a Dr. Beasley question or Dr. Hines question. I know that for the 2021 school year, we're having Clayton State University professors at 4 different high schools, but we have more than 4 high schools. Is this the pilot for this particular school year, or are we looking into putting it into all of our high schools?
Well, I can initially respond similar to what Dr. Hines shared. As the numbers increase at the various colleges, at the various high schools, there's always that opportunity for staff from Clayton State University to be those instructors at those high schools. I think that has a lot to do with the number of students that are enrolled in the courses. And so, as a reminder, we have several high schools using several colleges for dual enrollment. And so that's one consideration. Dr. Hines may want to add to that.
I think Dr. Beasley has correctly identified one issue, and that is if there is sufficient enrollment, we will offer courses. The second is that there is underway, and of course the changes in the external environment changed kind of all of our standard operating procedures. But there had been underway conversations between our advising office, especially the advisor assigned to dual enrollment programs, and the advisors at each of the secondary schools. Rest assured that we seek to expand and provide offerings throughout the district because this has long been and will continue to be an important part of our community commitment. The individual, if there are some individual school questions, if you'd simply send me an email at timhines@clayton.edu, I would be delighted to get you to someone who can answer the question with extraordinary precision on each of the schools.
All right. Are there any other questions? If not, thank you so much, Dr. Hines, for your presentation.
Well, and to the board and to Superintendent Beasley, I say thank you for the opportunity to do this. My hope is that when we all can go outside again, we'll talk some more about the extraordinary ways in which the university and the schools are positively collaborating for the benefit of our students and the kids of Georgia. So thank you.
All right. Okay, our next item on the agenda is from Communications, Public Relations, and Marketing, Ms. Jada Dolphin.
Present, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Beasley, colleagues, and Clayton County community. I hope everyone is safe This evening, I will be providing an update on strategies currently underway by the district relative to the U.S. 2020 Census, communications plan, and community engagement opportunities that's been afforded. But before doing so, I would like to let our community know that as of today's date, March the 30th, according to the Atlanta Regional Office for the Census Bureau, we are at 32.2% in Clayton County residents that have completed the 2020 census form. And it's, we got a long way to go. Our goal is 80% or higher, and we certainly want to encourage everyone to complete the census. By now, you should have received information via the U.S. mail, and there's 3 simple ways to complete the census: online, by mail, and by phone. So I definitely wanted to make sure that all of our community residents is aware of that data, and certainly aware that they still have time to complete the census that will impact federal funding for education, community resources, and the like for the Clayton County community. And so I'd like to share that we've been working in collaboration with Clayton County Complete Count Committee, and this is led by Clayton County government, Ms. Brecca Johnson. And we've also worked with Dr. Anthony Smith's office with governmental relations with Clayton County, the Atlanta, as I alluded to earlier, the Atlanta Regional Office for the Census, and United Way of Greater Atlanta. And so some of the communication strategies that many have received through our CCPS, e-blast, have consisted of PSAs involving our students and some of our leaders. We have shared information through the superintendent community meetings, through social media platforms and live updates, one of which that we will be sharing again on tomorrow afternoon, and through the superintendent advisory group. This information has been posted on our website, and we continuously, again, try to put information on our social media platforms, as well as the District Education Channel 24. And that channel, we get a lot of questions. That channel is only if you are subscribers to Comcast. And in addition to that, we have now created videos in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And we, just as of Friday of last week, March the 27th, we had several videos to be released of our students, again, pleading to our stakeholders about how critical the census is and how to complete it, because it shapes and forms our future as well as our community and government. Some of the student activities have been spearheaded by our social studies curriculum coordinator. Kudos to Ms. Regina Wallace. I know she's not present this evening, but we provided an update previously about some of the instructional opportunities that we've infused the Census 2020 update to challenge our students to become a voice, stay involved, and activate, as well with sharing this information to their parents and guardians. In addition to our student government associations and the superintendent student advisory group. And we shared flyers. As many well know, we've gotten information about you sharing information about the census. Yes, we are. We know it's critical times, and the COVID-19 has circumvented some of our efforts, but nonetheless, we know how critical this information is to our community, and so we will continue to deploy information and sharing it through all of our platforms with all of our stakeholders, and continuing to involve our students and working with all of our school leaders and teachers and student engagement specialists. So that's all that I have in terms of an abbreviated update of some of the key opportunities that we shared information through our platforms. And just one reminder, again, the superintendent, Dr. Morsi J. Beasley, will be providing another update to our citizens that tomorrow, Facebook Live, tomorrow, 1 p.m., and everyone can access that information by certainly visiting our website or going to www.facebook.com/CCPS News. And that's all that I have at this time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them.
Board members, at this time, should I remind everyone to please put your phone on mute? unless you are speaking, because I can hear a lot of back noise, and I'm not sure how it's just going to the public. So I'm going to start again with with District 1 with Ms. Bowles, and everyone can then just go after that person if you have any questions. So Ms. Bowles, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Christmas.
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, as I said, if there's anyone, I'll just let you out. Okay. Miss Williams.
No, ma'am.
Miss Burrows.
No.
Okay. Miss Baker.
No, but just thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson joined yet?
Miss Corey, this is Sherry. I received some emails from her. She's having trouble calling in. I'm not sure what the issue is, but I've sent her another message.
Okay. Dr. Anderson?
No questions. Thank you for the great job that you all are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. It's certainly a team effort. We appreciate you.
Mr. Straker?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Well, Miss Dawkins, I want to say thank you so much, because I've seen the great job that you've done, and I actually responded on Twitter the other night. I saw a PSA that one of our students did that was very good, and I want to say that I have done my census, and I hope that we get 100%. I hope all the other board members have received their information and done it as well, because 32% won't do it.
That's right.
As you said, we need at least 80%. Otherwise, we will be getting a severe cut. And we need the Clayton County and our public to know that it's very important that we fill out our census. I'm going to particularly, I know that Dr. Smith is the next item on the agenda, but is his presentation along with Ms. Dawkins or what?
Yes, it is, Ms. Gorey. If he can add anything, if he'd like, but it's on the same topic.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Smith, would you like to add anything? I actually did just speak to him. I think he just told me that he was passing it to Ms. Dawkins. So, Ms. Dawkins, do you have anything else?
No, ma'am, that's it. Just a reminder for everyone to stay connected to all of our school district platforms to learn about news that we know from locally and nationally that's changing every day. So stay connected to all of our platforms via our website, via our social media tools, in addition to our Channel 24 education and broadcasting channel that's obviously for Comcast subscribers, and the Facebook Live message from our superintendent tomorrow to receive more information. And I thank you all for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dawkins. At this time, the next item on the agenda is Student Support Services, Dr. Nunez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Hey. Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Beasley, colleagues, and community. The Division of Support Services submitted a presentation with updates relative to the work of our behavior intervention specialists and the impact of such work on student discipline and overall school-based programs. Today, Dr. Maureen Ebuna, Coordinating Supervisor for the Department of Student Discipline, is joining the call to provide a brief summary of the information and entertain any questions that you may have. Dr. Ebuna.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Beasley, members of Clayton County community. As stated by Dr. Nunez, I am presenting a report on the Clayton County Public Schools Behavior Intervention Specialist, which was submitted to the board already. I would like to bring your attention to slide number 1. Primarily, the Behavior Intervention Specialist provides support to our scholars with challenging behaviors and also support teachers in the classroom by assisting them with classroom management and behavior management techniques. As indicated on slide number 2, presently we have a total of 10 behavior intervention specialists, and each supports approximately 6 to 7 schools. The behavior intervention specialist roles and responsibilities are summarized on slides 4 and 5. And if you look at slide number 9, you will see that as of February 6, 2020, the behavior intervention specialist made over 5,000 contacts to provide support to our scholars, their families, and staff members as well. The supports provided by the behavior intervention specialists translated into reductions in office discipline referrals, in-school suspension days, and out-of-school suspension days, as reflected on slides number 10, 11, and 12. A 3-year comparison data of the office discipline referrals, in-school suspensions, and out-of-school suspensions for the fall of 2017, 2018, and 2019, that is from August to December, indicates a reduction in all 3 areas. But we do recognize that there are other variables as well that may have positively impacted the behavior data. So at this time, I will take any questions that you may have.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Are you going in order again?
Well, it's all right. Go ahead, Ms. Burrows. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. I'll wait my turn.
You go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I had a couple of calls recently. One of them, the child was in the 1st grade, suspended 6 times. Now, if that occurs, would that automatically be a referral for your department?
Yes, ma'am. Typically, we do have the progressive discipline process in place, and it begins with level 1, where basically all we do is provide support. They do not suspend at level 1. They provide behavioral support. But if the child needs to be suspended, they have to do that level 1 first, and that is put in place. Referral for support to be provided to that child, so the child can be taught appropriate pro-social skills.
Okay, thank you. And I'm glad you had that list in there, because now I know who the person is that's in charge of the elementary school that I'm referring to.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if I get that call again, I can give the mother the information.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll start now with Ms. Bowles.
Hi, Dr. Nunez. My question is about what does our circle of support look like right now on the ground in response to Corona? I'm really excited about the behavior intervention specialist update, and I will email my questions about that. I'm curious more about, I feel like your department oversees some of our most vulnerable scholars, and I was wondering what that looks like.
Thank you for that question. Our school-based circle of support continues active at all times because it is comprised of our social workers, our psychology, behavior intervention specialists, and DES and English learners specialists, and all the support services personnel that is currently working with all the students at the schools. They continue to provide those supports and communicating, which is the most important thing, and collaborating to address the needs of the students. Currently, our social workers are very, very active. Our counselors as well, that I didn't mention, are very active, and some of the members will be more active than others. In the meantime, the other members are in the background, for lack of a better word or term, and in collaboration with the work that is being done to support students, so the students continue, feeling safe at home where they are, and continue accessing the instruction, which is our focus, the education of our students and that academic piece. But in these times, yes, our Circle of Support members are very, very much active and in communication with families via phone, via email, and providing those social-emotional supports that students and families need at this time.
Thank you, Dr.
Mr. Christmas. Miss Williams.
No questions.
Miss Baker.
No questions.
Dr. Anderson.
Hi, Dr. Nunez. How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm well. I just wanted to find out. I know Miss Burrows just mentioned that a student that she got a call regarding a student that had 6 suspensions. But let me ask you a question: with our students that are getting those suspensions or having multiple suspensions, how many suspensions do we calculate, or do we let our students have before we develop them a tier 2 or tier 3 plan?
Where we are looking at 3 suspensions at the most. And
okay.
Dr. Ibuna can talk a little bit more about our process that was developed, our behavior intervention process and plans for, and as she mentioned, that progressive discipline that we talked about. Dr. Buna, would you like to elaborate on the BCAP and the BIP
Yes,
briefly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When a child has 3 days out of school suspensions, that child is referred to tier 2. So at that level, we put in place what we call the Behavior Correction Action Plan, which is technically a function-based intervention that will address those reasons why the child is having those suspensions, the behavior, the root cause of those problems. So we put that plan in place, and then the team implements the intervention and then does progress monitoring to determine if those interventions are being effective or not. And then we continue to go from there. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. I just want to make sure that, all schools are aware that and that they're looking at those suspensions, and that, once those kids get to those 3 suspensions, that our APs and our people on the ground level are looking at those suspensions and making sure we refer those kids on to tier 2 or tier 3 so we can get them the help that they need. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Straker.
No questions, Madam Chair.
I would like to follow up on what Dr. Anderson just mentioned, because I've received quite a number of calls myself regarding behaviors for students. And the one thing that I would like to emphasize, I think maybe we might need more behavior specialists, but I'm concerned about behavior plans that we actually do have in place, but our personnel is either, I know at one school, I think it was a new teacher that came in that apparently she didn't read the behavior plan, and when the child had some acted out, the child ended up being suspended, but school personnel had not followed what was already in place. So I would really like for us to actively make sure that we're training all of our staff as to the correct procedure, and also not always rely upon out school suspensions. We know we have some students that have challenges, and they have plans in place, but we also need to make sure that we are looking at our student records and following things that are already in place. That's a concern for me. And also, as I said, I think we probably need to have more personnel doing this job, because when I look at the high numbers at the elementary level, that is very glaring to me. But I do realize that elementary children are coming in, and they need to get adapted and adjusted to the rituals and routines. And so, of course, the numbers probably would be higher there, and then start flattening as they go on. But those are my concerns.
Thank you, ma'am. And we will continue providing professional development. We do currently provide the professional development to the school staff, and we will continue providing that needed professional development out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions, board members? Thank you so much, Dr. Nunez.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is from technology, Mr. Rod Smith.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Beasley. I've submitted 2 documents for you guys. One titled Technology Update, and the other document is a document that supports our efforts around COVID-19. The technology update is simply an update that would give the board some insight into some of the activities that the 3 units in my department have successfully or in the process of successfully completed for the year. So those 3 units are information technology, technical operations, and instructional technology. I won't spend any time talking about that document other than to say, shifting to the supporting during the COVID-19. I would like to thank my team. Each of those units have basically stood up remote support to support students and teachers and the administration while we're out on this extended school closure. If you have read the document, I would like to entertain any questions, but I would like to take one moment to say thank you to each of those units and my team, my entire technology department for being so proactive and responsive. So much, I mean, even with setting this call up tonight and Dr. Beasley coming up with the simplicity of doing something very simple. Many school districts were struggling to try to figure out how do we hold our board meetings. So, with the direction from Dr. Beasley, my team, they put this together relatively quickly. And so far, I think it's gone extremely well. I know there's probably dozens and dozens of questions for technology tonight. So I'll pause at this moment and see if I can answer any of those questions.
Well, Mr. Smith, we won't have dozens and dozens tonight. If there are dozens and dozens, I need them to send them to you an email. But I do want to commend you for the great job that because I'm very technology challenged, and and if we have to do this again, of course, I would like for the public to see us, but I wouldn't want the public to see how I look tonight. But I just want to commend you. I want to commend you and all of our staff and our teachers, because I've seen some outstanding lessons, interactive lessons through Facebook, through the all types of media that's going on with our students, and I'm just very proud of that. So I will I'm going to start with Ms. Bowles and let you all come down for any questions that you all have for Mr. Smith. Go ahead. Ms. Bowles.
to Madam Chair's point, I think I will reserve most of my questions for email, but I will share, Mr. Smith, thank you, continued gratitude to your department for having to adjust in this crazy time. And one of my primary concerns for the technology department, and I think this is something that's not just going to be a solution in technology, but somehow we've got to get every student with a computer. And I know we have that in a vision, and I know we've got it anchored in SPLOST funds, and I also understand the challenges, but whatever we can do to make sure that every student has a way to learn is, and I know we're all thinking about the same thing. Some things that I'm seeing other districts do, this is thanks to, family and friends in Louisiana, but having to deal with emergency crises and having to make purchases, keeping track of those purchases, and then maybe we can ask FEMA to be reimbursed because they are emergency response folks. So I just hope that we're thinking out of the box and not just saying it's not in the budget this year, but whether it's community partners, anything, hopefully your team is also really hoping out that we can find a solution for this year and soon. So thank you for all that you do, and I'll send the rest via email.
Okay. And we are looking at every possible opportunity. We know that the continuation of the devices heavily depend on SPLOST right now. Dr. Beasley has had conversation with state representatives and governors about this not necessarily being just a Clayton County issue, but we've known about this issue for a number of years, and I think the COVID-19 is just putting a spotlight on it or amplifying it. There's been this homework, if you will, device gap, connectivity gap for a number of years, and we're working hard to use every resource that we have, planning for next year, because this is really not going to be the last time that we deal with this, and I don't mean just with another pandemic, but just with a regular snow day or any other catastrophic event. We know that this is not going to go away, and we want our kids and students to have those opportunities that other students have in other school districts. So I appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Mr. Christmas? Miss Williams?
Yes, when we give out the Chromebooks, do they have built-in internet for the kids already also?
That's a great question. My director of technical ops and I've had this concern or question before. They do not come like an iPad could come ready to be connected to the internet. So the Chromebooks that we purchase, and this is not by any fault of our own, the manufacturers just have not developed or sold us the devices, the Chromebooks with internet connectivity. So what would have to happen would be students would either have to have their own internet connection, or one of the things that we've been promoting a lot with connectivity for students is Comcast Essentials. And right now they're doing 60 days free for families. But that would be an additional device if when we provide them Chromebooks. But largely, we found that some students, or most students, or at least a lot of students, already have some sort of connectivity, and they may not be unlimited, but they already have some sort of connectivity.
So if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to work on the hotspot?
No, that's correct. If they did not have a hotspot or a viable internet connection at home, that device would be useless to them. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Burrows?
I was watching the news last night because I'm beginning to get cabin fever, and I saw, I think it's Fulton County, they identified all of the students that did not have access to a computer, and they're raising money to buy them. And I thought that must be quite a chore, because they identified 100 students. Just a thought.
Ms. Baker.
Just again, I just want to say thank you for all the work our technology department has done. This is way past anything, that we could have planned for. We always expect those 2 to 3 snow days or maybe a week, but I don't think anybody could have foreseen this when we started making these plans to get technology out to students. So just thank you for all their hard work, and I'm sure they've been there numerous hours. So hope y'all are taking care of yourselves, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Dr. Anderson.
I also wanted to say thank you for all of the hard work that you all have done. I also wanted to say thank you to some of the people that have donated to our students within the community. I know 100 Black Men, they've done some things for some of our schools, and we've had, various donors to donate to some of our students. But I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for all the hard work from our teachers. They're talking to the students via Zoom or, whatever technology they need to use. So just thank you, everyone, for pitching in and doing what we need to do during these tumultuous times. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson.
Straker. Mr. Straker.
I have no questions, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to what Ms. Bowles mentioned, and we do have, I know that we do have the computers listed as a part of SPLOST, but I also want to point out, too, that the other thing is that one thing that we're always making an assumption, too, that the schools have to provide everything. And we do know that we're using SPLOST funds, but it would also, our parents also need to keep in mind that computer access should be a necessity. We pretty much every one of our students has a cell phone, and just as cell phones are important, we should be looking at things like having access to our computers and all that type of stuff as a priority for learning. Because I think what we've all found out right now is even if we all have the access to the computer, that we still need we need other resources as well. Because I know that these parents are upset about they didn't want to become teachers; they want to be parents and not teachers. But I love the training that I see that the technology department is offering. And I was thinking that maybe we need to, I don't know if we can open that up to parents, but that's another area that I think that we need to look at too, is opening up workshops and training for our parents and grandparents and all of that, because we never know when this situation might occur again. And pretty much that's it.
Yes, ma'am. And one other reminder, we are working with the Department of Education and they all realize that we're in a situation where we need to address that issue. And I have a phone call with them tomorrow to see what they're going to be able to help partner with us to address some of the connectivity issues and some of the device gaps that we have in the district. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. I appreciate it. I appreciate, like Jada said, like Ms. Dawkins said, I appreciate Dr. Beasley's leadership. I appreciate your leadership board. And once again, I appreciate my team. They're all listening, so I want them to all know that I appreciate the hard work that they've done, because nobody could have anticipated that we were going to have to support 55,000 students and 3,200 teachers and an additional, 4,000 staff members remotely, and we're doing that.
All right. Well, I know that Dr. Beasley,
thank you.
Dr. Beasley, would you like to share what you just sent to me about your seniors?
Yes, ma'am, I would. And I'm doing several things, listening to you, listening to Rod, and also sending you information. As you all know, the president has he is encouraging everyone to stay in shelter in place until the end of April. The governor announced schools would be closed until April 24th. And so we just thought it prudent to go ahead and plan for the closing of school with our seniors clearly, because they have to graduate first. So I sent you all our thinking towards phasing in a school closure with our seniors being the focus initially, and then we're working on K-8 and then 9 to 11th grade. I just want you all to know that working and the community should know, and I'll share this in the update tomorrow, that we've got to get our seniors. We know that their transcripts have to be finalized. GPAs are still important, so we've got to make sure that they get all the support that they need to finish out the semester. We've identified a date, basically, that they'll be considered finished, and then a time period for them to do any makeup work. We've identified a rollout plan for laptops for those who may need them. We've identified about 841 seniors who may need a laptop. And then, of course, those who need to take advanced placement exams, since the AP College Board will allow them to take those exams from home, they'll need a laptop in order to do that. So we've identified, Dr. Dunn has been working with all the high school counselors, and they've been surveying and assessing their students, contacting their students to see who needs what. So we're in the process of basically finalizing to implement a senior support plan so we can bring closure to our senior year, get those young people prepared to be graduated. While we recognize that the graduation dates remain the same, we just don't know whether or not that we'll be able to do face-to-face ceremonies. We're even planning for a virtual graduation if that's what we have to have. We prefer a face-to-face, but we just don't know where we'll be as a nation, as a state, by the time graduations get here. So more to come in that area. But I sent that to you all because we want you all to know that we're working diligently. We'll be sharing that information. We know seniors are concerned, so our initial focus is to help our seniors bring closure to their year so they can graduate, while we also work on steps for bringing closure to grades 9 through 11, and then, of course, because those students are earning credits, and some 8th graders as well are earning high school credit, and then also grades K through 8 as well. So I sent that information, and if you have questions, if I know you've not had time to necessarily read that information, but feel free to email me or call me or shoot me or text or something if you have questions.
Thank you, Dr. Beasley.
And I want to thank Dr. Simpson and the assistant superintendent, Ms. Johnson, Dr. Hendrick, Dr. Guiney, and Dr. Colbert for working diligently together to ensure we really cover all bases. Rod's team, as you've already heard from, all of them working together, student support services, everybody really coming together to ensure that we cover all bases to help our students bring this year to a close in as less stressful of an environment as possible, but recognizing that our young people, our seniors in particular, they've got to move on to other endeavors in their lives.
All right, thank you. And again, thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, we're going to move on to the next portion of the meeting, which will be the consent agenda and for action. And what we'll do is we'll have everyone present, and once everything is presented, board, we will vote on the consent agenda. If you have anything that you want to pull, just let me know, and we will vote on those separately. At this time, the financial report, Ms. Emma Benson, Chief Financial Officer.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Beasley, and community. The board has for review and approval a summary of the district's current financial status as of February 2020. As the board can see, our general fund balance at the end of the month, that is the end of February, was $140 million. And as we discussed last month, you can see that the fund balance is decreasing from January to February. And as we continue throughout the year, you'll see further decrease. The board can also see that our revenue and our expenditures for the month of February were pretty much as planned. Also attached for your review is the SPLOST revenue report. This is a monthly report that shows the revenue collected for the month of February, or received for the month of February, and you can also see the cumulative as well as the average collection to date. The third report for the board is the purchasing report, and included in the board's package is report A and B, which are for information only. And then, of course, report C, which is the contract report. That's for the board approval. Now, all three reports are presented as a part of the consent agenda. I can answer any questions at this time.
Ms. Bowles.
My question is kind of like piggybacking off of what I was asking Mr. Smith in technology. Ms. Benton, thank you for your report, and I'm wondering what we are doing as a district during or through the COVID crisis to account for any emergency expenditures. Obviously, we're doing the best within our locus of control, but there's going to be state advocacy and federal advocacy to make sure that, like, you know, districts are surviving. What are we keeping track of emergency fund spending separately?
We are, absolutely. So on the numbers side of the house, we have developed a code within the financial system where all expenses are coded there. And also on the payroll side of the house, where all of those additional expenditures that we are occurring that we wouldn't typically expect, we're also keeping track of all of that information.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Benton.
You're welcome.
Mr. Christmas. Ms. Williams.
So I just had a question about the everything parking group on page, I guess 8. I just want to know, does that come with the crossing guards, or we just paying for, or do they just provide supplies and training?
That is with the crossing guards. That includes the crossing guard. And I think someone else from the board asked that question. Dr. Beasley, did you send out the response to what that amount includes?
That was her question. But you did answer the question. It did include the crossing guards. I think that was the question. The crossing guards in training, but Chief Trawick is on the line as well, so he can respond as appropriate.
Okay, well, that was my question. I just want to know if it included the crossing guard. Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
It does.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you, Chief.
Take your phone off of mute. I probably can answer that question. Ms. Williams, what are you asking as far as what does it include?
She answered it already, because it looked like it was just the equipment and the training. It didn't look like it included the crossing guards.
It does.
It includes crossing guard.
Yes, all of that is included.
Okay.
Miss Burrows.
I have no questions.
Okay, Miss Baker.
I had a question earlier and it was answered, so I'm good.
Okay. Dr. Anderson.
No questions at this time.
Mr. Straker.
I have no questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, I believe that all questions have been answered. The next item would be the SPLOST revenue report. Or did you cover that?
I covered it already.
Okay. And purchasing.
I did.
Yeah, purchasing. Yeah, those are the contracts, correct?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, then I believe that's it, Miss Benson. The next thing
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's Ms. Bowles. I actually do have one more question about the purchasing report. Ms. Benton, I was looking for that really helpful data you put in here last time about how many of these contracts have gone to small local Black women or veteran owners. Do we have that in this report? Am I missing it?
I'm not. I need to look. I know if you look on the detailed report, so on report A, B, N, or C, we do have the column that's inserted there with which vendor is local, small, minority, or women-owned.
Got it. Okay, I totally overlooked it. I see the box now. And so we don't count veterans. Is that true? Small, local, women, minority. 0. Okay. Do we not count veterans, Ms. Benson?
Well, I don't know if there is a if we have on our system specifically called out veterans. I can find out. I haven't seen it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Okay. On the and if the fund balance on page, I think it's page 5. Everything in the imbalance in parentheses is stuff that we owe or stuff that hasn't been paid yet, or stuff that's not due yet.
So, Ms. Williams, is that on the fund balance report? Is that the one that you're looking at? Yeah. So if you see a negative on that report, so it's the fund balance report, and so you can see the beginning balance, which is in the first column with numbers, and then you can see revenue, that's a column, and expenses, that's the third column, and the fourth column is the ending balance. And so as you see the negative amount, it represents that we have paid more out than we've actually received in.
Okay.
And sometimes that's related to timing, which means we as a district went on and paid the expense, and we expect the income or the revenue to come in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It doesn't mean that we owe anything out. It typically means we've already paid it.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions? Okay, hearing none, I believe the next item would be, thank you so much, Ms. Benson.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is the SPLOST construction update. Mr. Ronnie Joseph, Director of Construction.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Beasley. You have before you the SPLOST construction update. For the month of March, 10 payments were made, totaling $6,725,991.54. There was one change order executed. It was a deductive change order amounting to $79,951.11 for Point South Middle School. Page 2 lists the ongoing work to include Jonesboro High School, South Elementary School, and Morrow High School. In addition, at the bottom of the page, you have projects in design, which include Forest Park Middle School and the College of Career Accounting. At this time, I'm glad to answer any questions.
I'll start with you, Ms. Bowles.
No questions. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Christmas. Ms. Williams.
So the money for Point South Middle School is an add-on or a reduction?
It was a deductive.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Burrows.
I have no questions.
Ms. Baker.
I have a question. With all this that's going around and the restrictions of where we stay or, stay at home or whatever, are we having any construction done at all?
The contractors are utilizing social distancing. Given the condition of where we are in the project, we can't just shut down without having a negative impact to our neighbors, i.e. the new site. We have cleared the site from their erosion controls measures that need to take place. So we were just exercising social distancing until further directives from municipalities.
I appreciate it. I was out and saw road construction happening today, and of course they are distanced apart. I didn't know how that would work with our construction. Thank you.
Yeah, same practices.
Dr. Anderson,
No questions at this time.
Mr. Straker.
No questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, I don't have any either. My only concern right now is with us being under our current situation. I'm just more worried about how our SPLOST money is going to look, because I figured that our numbers are probably going to be down, and I'm thinking that, we may need to reconsider some of our projects before moving forward, but just, keeping that in mind. Are there any other questions?
Madam Chair, yeah, I have a question. Ronnie, you said it was what kind of deductive?
It was a deductive change order. So at Point South Middle School, there were unused allowances, so we removed those costs from the contractor's contract and adding it back to the pot. Oh,
okay. All right. Because I know many of us didn't know what that was. I guess didn't nobody want to ask.
Yeah, their contract amount is being reduced by that amount.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Christmas, for helping us out on that one.
I just asked it.
Are there any other questions? Okay, at this time, thank you so much, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you all.
The next item that I see on the agenda is the personnel changes report. Dr. Wilson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, other members of the board, Superintendent Beasley. The personnel changes report summarizes all personnel actions for the period of February 13th through March 13th. During this time of year, we transition from reporting vacancies for the current school year to start looking at vacancies and hiring for the upcoming school year 2021. With that, as of now, we have around 300 vacancies. That includes vacancies from the current year plus those that we're aware of at this year. So we're at about 300. We do anticipate that number increasing as the school year goes on because of the provision in the law that allows employees to get out of their contracts till mid-June. So we don't know what that number will be, but we do anticipate it increasing. With that, we are still continuing the hiring process for schools at this time. We shared information with our principals regarding virtual interviews using Google Meets, so they don't have to wait to a specific date or time to conduct those interviews. They can schedule them at their leisure to begin to source and speak with candidates. We did share that because of the district's closure that the hiring process will stop at the point where it's time to conduct a background check, because those do have to be done in person using the individual's fingerprints, and because of the district closure, we're unable to do that. We're not overly concerned with, losing those candidates who are interested in coming to Clayton to other districts, because they're all in the same position as well, to where they can't go beyond the step where background check is required. In terms of contract distribution, we issued contracts on February 21st for the majority of our employees, and as of this March 13th, 97% of those contracts had been returned, indicating that the employees would return for next year. But again, that number may decrease due to the June 15th date. And then we have another contract distribution on May 8th, which will allow for the final distribution before the May 15th deadline that's required. And then lastly, I don't really have much of an update on the retention task force, because we haven't been able to meet since our last meeting, but we are still having conversations regarding end-of-year survey that will be administered, which will be the major focus for action plans for the upcoming school year. And that concludes the personnel changes report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, board members, I'll start with Ms. Bowles for questions.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. I am wondering, I appreciate your update. I think I heard you say that there were contracts that went out early April, maybe the 13th, and then you said there's another contract distribution date on May 8th. And my question to you is, what's the difference between those two groups of people and who got what when?
So the first round of contracts were February 21st, and those were employees who had met all criteria to be eligible for a contract at that time, which was all but 600 employees. The remaining 600 employees who we may issue on May 8th, they could have certification requirements they need to have completed. They could have been on FML. They could be a new hire employee. We could be waiting on a final evaluation to issue the contract. So it's a number of reasons why those contracts may not be issued until May 8th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Christmas, Miss Williams.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Mr. Christmas.
Questions? No questions.
Miss Williams.
Have any questions? No questions.
Miss Burrows.
No questions.
Miss Baker.
No questions.
Dr. Anderson.
No questions at this time.
Mr. Straker.
I have no questions, Madam Chair.
All right. Dr. Wilson, I do have a question now going back to the issuing of contracts. Now that since we have closed our schools and everything, and we're not doing the milestones, and I think they mentioned about teacher keys. What are we looking at? I know some of the contracts probably were held up because of maybe deficiencies or whatever, but will we now be overlooking those types of things, since it will be somewhat of a problem to maybe complete some requirements, or what?
Thank you for that question, Ms. Gore. It's a great question. So we've been in communication with the Georgia Professional Standards Commission and the DOE regarding that matter. The Professional Standards Commission did issue some guidance, but it was more associated with employees who had not met certification requirements. But we did ask the question of them, and they referred us to the Georgia Department of Education. And the response that we got back was that at this time, they've stopped all entries into the platform for teacher keys and leader keys. And in short order, they would provide guidance in terms of those employees who may need evaluations or may be on development plans that needs to be completed to the end of the year. So at this point, we have not received that guidance from the DOE.
Okay, so I guess it'll probably be maybe case by case.
Correct. Or they may issue some type of blanket waiver or something, or they could say, look at where they were mid-year and use that evaluation. So it could be a number of things, but as soon as we get that guidance, we will act on it accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, I don't hear any more questions at this time. We will vote on the consent agenda. This will be for action. And I will need a motion for the consent agenda, which would include the financial report, the SPLOST revenue report, the purchasing report, SPLOST instruction update, and the personnel changes report. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I second the motion.
Okay, I'm not sure who made the first. Who made the motion? I heard Ms. Burrows second it.
It was Christmas and Alika, I thought. Two people.
Mr. Christmas, did you make the motion?
Yes.
Okay, he made the motion, and Dr. Anderson seconded?
No, I did. Burrows.
Oh, Ms. Burrows. Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Burrows. So there's it has been moved and properly seconded to accept the consent agenda. So at this time we will vote. Please give us your vote, Ms. Bowles.
Yes.
Mr. Christmas,
Accepted.
Ms. Williams,
Yes. Approve.
Ms. Burrows,
Yes.
Ms. Baker,
Yes.
Dr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Straker,
I vote yes, Madam Chair.
and I will vote yes. So that seems to be a unanimous vote, 8-0, to accept the consent agenda as presented. The next item on the agenda are board matters policy series I, first read. Do we have anything that needs to be added? Anything that we want to add to the first read policy?
Is it okay to speak?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Ms. Burrow.
Okay. Well, I read that policy and I had two things on there that needed to be corrected, and I sent them to Sherry today.
Okay. So noted. Okay. Well, I don't have anything else, and the only other thing we've done the action for the business agenda at this time. We have concluded our meeting, and the meeting is adjourned. The time is 7:30. We are concluded. Thank you all for your attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
Good night,
All right,
everybody.
everybody be safe.
All right, stay safe, everybody.
Madam
Good night.
Chair?
I'm going to. Are we still live?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I just
I
want
would-
to tell you